And the man accused of being the mastermind of the 9/11 attacks has remained silent at a military tribunal hearing at Guantanamo Bay. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed is one of 5 men appearing to face charges which could carry the death penalty. One of his co-defendants was brought to the hearing strapped in a restraint chair. For more on what's been happening, we go live now to lawyer Eric Montalvo, who's in Washington, D.C. Eric, just briefly, what exactly is happening today? I mean, what are these proceedings? Could this be the start of the long-awaited trials of the men alleged by the U.S. to be the key figures behind the 9/11 attacks?
Yes, the process is they're attempting to begin a trial process again with the arraignment, and it didn't go off well. There were already a number of different concerns raised before they could proceed. I think competency issues, etc. So what they're trying to do is begin the process of trying to move toward a trial proceeding into the future.
Now, President Obama wanted to abolish the detention and trial system at Guantanamo in his last election campaign, but here it is happening right smack during his second run for the White House. Do you think that the timing could help him politically, or has it been decided to help him in that way?
Well, I think that's a key issue. I think, one has to wonder why now. Within 24 hours of President Obama taking office, he issued an executive order to close Guantanamo Bay. He's the most powerful leader in the world, and that did not occur. For what reason, I have no idea. So 3 years later, on the eve of another election, I think what they're trying to do is take that issue off the table and say, well, we're at least trying to proceed in an orderly fashion, but I think it's a fairly thin veil, and people will be able to see through it.
So now, since he hasn't fulfilled his promise to shut down Guantanamo, I'm assuming you don't see it happening anytime soon. What are your thoughts on that?
No, there's no way. They have no plan. It's taken 3 years to get to this particular point, and this is going to be another tremendous and sad waste of U.S. resources on a matter that can be resolved in a number of different ways, and they've just decided not to do so.
Now, after the killing of Osama bin Laden, do you think this trial will be seen as final closure on 9/11 for many Americans?
Well, I think it does a tremendous injustice to the memory of those victims on 9/11. I think it does a tremendous injustice to the thing that we call the justice system in America. And, it's going to highlight, an embarrassing chapter in our history. So, and what you're going to see is a tremendous amount of incompetency as they proceed forward, and there are going to be appeals, and this thing is going to linger on for some time, and it's going to be a very awkward and painful process that I don't know is going to yield the type of justice that we're looking for.
Right, that long and painful process. Some might argue that for detainees, being held at Guantanamo without trial is punishment enough. Do you agree with that?
Well, I don't know. I think that if it's the case that you've committed murder of thousands of people, then, certain justice, needs to be achieved. And just sitting there waiting for it is an injustice to the whole system as well as those individuals.
All right. Thanks for joining us, U.S. lawyer Eric Montalvo.